Stapleton. Cut.
All right. Begging for money. True or false? Let's do this.
Welcome back.
Here we are.
Here we are. I'm Jax.
I'm Stapleton.
We are back for another episode. And we have had a little bit of a debate about this actual subject, right?
Yes.
And it is panhandlers.
Mm-hmm. Had an incident just yesterday. Funny you should bring that up.
It is either is true or it is false, right?
And how do you feel?
How do you determine one way or the other, right? You get that gut feeling and you give them whatever it is that you can give them at that time, or do you just keep going? And I think, I don't know if it's a sore subject. I don't think so. I think it is, I think some of this stuff out here is reality and people are truly hurting. There's no doubt. It's not to say that that is not happening. The part that I struggle with is, are they being true to us that they are not, they don't have any food, they don't have any means of anything, they don't have anything. And that's kind of what we have to look at is, while you're sitting through that light and you see an individual who is in need of something, they're saying they are in need, what do you do?
Do you look at them?
Sometimes you don't have a choice but to look at them, right? But what's your thoughts, Stapleton?
So just yesterday, Jazzy and I were going out to dinner, and there was a gentleman at a stoplight, and he had the sign said, God bless, need money, anything, help. And she got out a dollar bill, and I said, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, should we give him $1? That's all I have. And I'm like, no. And then I had the weirdest feeling, because I was like, that was so, what if this guy did need the money? But then I said, look at his bracelet. And he had a bracelet on that looked fairly nice. And I'm like, he's not hurting, he's scamming.
Yeah. But
who am I to say he's scamming? Maybe his mom died and that was her bracelet and this is the only thing he has left.
Yeah.
And we went and ate, and I was sitting there, I'm just like, I didn't know how I felt about that after I said that, because I always want to help people that need help.
Yes.
And it was just kind of eye-opening for me. There was a moment, did I ever tell you about?
Sorry.
Oh, shit.
You're good.
Okay.
You're still good.
Did I tell you about my $2 guy ever?
No.
So I was in Andover, Kansas, and this gentleman came up to me, and I never carry cash. And
right.
you know that. And so he came up and he's like, hey ma'am, he goes, and he had a hat on, he's like, I'm just really embarrassed about this. My truck's over there and it's broken, and I think the transmission went out, and I have some tools I could sell you, but I just need some money, I need some gas, I'm just having a hard time right now, and if you want to buy some of my tools, I could take you over there and show you. And I was like, no, don't do that. I said, and I totally total hooked. And I was like, and I reached in my pocket, I had 2 $1 bills. And I was like, here's my $2. He goes, you sure you don't want to see my tools? And I'm like, dude, just, help somebody else out. So he takes my $2 and he takes off. And I was like, and I even said, I wish I had more to give you, but I never carry cash. And so he goes off. I'm feeling pretty good about my $2 donation, and was like, I wish I had more, I would have given more. And, but I did what I could at that time.
Right.
And so I went home, and then about a month or 2 later, I was at Best Buy out west when it was still there, obviously. And this guy comes up and goes, ma'am, I'm so embarrassed. Had a hat on, did the same routine where he put his head down. He goes, I'm so embarrassed. I just don't have any money, and I have some tools I'm trying to sell so I can get some money for my transmission and some gas. And I looked at him and I go, you son of a bitch.
Oh, shit.
I go, you son of a, and he's like, I
Oh
go,
my
you
God.
got me at Andover, you asshole.
No.
And he goes, yes. And he took his hat and he goes, wasn't me, ma'am. And the sucker took off. I jumped in my vehicle and was watching him, and he went to another car. So I was like, I'm going to follow this jerk. So I went behind him and I said, don't give him any money. He's a fake.
Oh my God.
And he was like going to like in the parking lot, and I was honking my horn. It was like it was at night. And I was honking my horn, and I was flashing my lights at him, and wherever he went, I was like, right there.
Oh my God.
And then this is when it got kind of crazy, because I was like, I could get shot right now. He had his buddy, must have been watching, and came, and he ran into this black van, jumped in it, and took off. And at that point, I was like, I could have got shot. I could have done something really over
my
$2.
God.
But I was so mad and embarrassed that I felt for this guy.
Yeah, you
$2.
felt like you were.
I was like, you're a thief.
Yeah.
You're a freaking thief.
He lied.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so this guy that got my $2 and this guy that didn't get our $1, I mean, who's to say who is in need and who's not? How do you
So they just
decide?
go into a regular store and start doing that?
Well, I was out in the parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah, both of them were out in the parking lot. But it was so because I recognized him, and as soon as I was like, you son of a bitch, he was like, not me, ma'am. I was like, it was you. And I think I saw him in another corner one other time, and he was wearing like Oakley sunglasses. And I look at that stuff.
Yeah.
And, and I was like, I think that's the guy, but I'm not going to get shot today.
So where exactly, I wonder where he would have taken you for the tools?
I don't know.
If you would have said, okay,
know.
let me see your tools.
Let me see your truck. Thank God I didn't.
No kidding. He was in a black van.
Yeah. Who's, I could be.
Oh
who
my
knows?
God.
And it was just my
Maybe he would have said, oh, I must have towed my truck.
Yeah, or would I have been in a van heading to Mexico? I mean, who knows?
Nah, they wouldn't keep you doing it.
we freaking wouldn't even make it to fucking Dodge City, and they'd throw my ass out.
No, man, they'd take you to Maze Road. Let's not go to Dodge.
Right. She talks too much.
Oh my God.
It was hard. I mean, I was like, holy crap. I mean, what do you do? I have a cousin. She's passed away, but she was a panhandler. And I don't remember if she was in Oregon or California. Yes.
She was a panhandler in Oregon or
I can't remember where
she,
yeah.
Okay.
It was northern California or southern Oregon. But I think she told my parents at one point, or told somebody, she made $60,000 panhandling tax-free.
Oh my God. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't know when somebody really is in need. Is it true or is it false? Which is it? And I don't know, man. That is $60,000. Obviously, isn't very much in California, but it is tax free.
And
but like, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going around here now.
I remember one time my grandpa, they lived in Ojai, California, and I don't have very many memories. Say that fast 3 times with braces. Many times with him, but there was one time he always said, let's go down to the corner, which means we'd go down and get a pop or jerky or something down at the corner store. And I remember sitting in the cab of the truck once, and my grandpa got out and he walked and he said something to a guy. He went into the store and came out and gave him a pint of alcohol and a pack of cigarettes. And handed it to him.
Yeah.
And got in the truck, and to this day I remember that. There's 3 memories I have of my grandpa. That's one of them. And I was just like, did he just know? Like, was he just knew this guy, that he needed the alcohol or cigarettes? Did the guy ask him?
Did the guy ask?
Did he just do it upon himself? I mean, it was just, but that's one of my memories I have.
Wow. I don't know. I have, let's see, it wasn't actually too long ago. I want to say probably a month ago, at least. I think I was at a light and my gut made me do it. So it was probably because I felt like it was true. Yeah, I gave him some money.
Did you? And how did they act?
He was very grateful. He was very, very, very grateful. But I don't know. I think that might have be the last time. I don't know. It's just when they're outside of a store and they're like wanting a couple of bucks and whatever. But in truth, I rarely carry cash. It's kind of like,
when we say we don't have the money on us, we're not lying. We don't carry cash.
It's rare for us to carry cash, but I don't know. I'd like to know what other people's experiences are with that. I think there was a story once before here in the city that this ex-husband, I believe, he was panhandling on Rock Road, and he would cash in, I think, at one of the banks off of Rock Road, and they had some kind of like not interview, but someone had turned him in because he was behind on child support.
Oh shit!
But yet he was getting this money from the community, and he was cashing in like thousands and thousands of dollars, and of course not able to pay his child support. But it is so weird of how it's legal, I guess. They don't do anything to them for standing out there and asking for money. I don't know.
Yeah.
They just don't have the time, or they don't want to waste their time on it. I don't know. What do you think?
It's just,
I think every city might be different.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if I thought it was illegal here, but they're everywhere. And if it's legit, go for it. But if you're a fraud,
yeah,
shame on you.
Well,
what do you say?
That's pretty much it. That's where you and I have always talked about karma. Mm-hmm. Karma is a bitch. If you're asking for something that you don't need, and you have the ability to go out and work and support your family, you should do that. You don't want karma coming down later on in life and saying, hey, you remember that time
you did this? Yeah.
That elderly lady was sitting at the light and she handed over a couple of dollars and you took it, right?
Yep. And kept your tools.
According to KWCH, Wichita City Council updated their solicitation and/or panhandling ordinance in 2017. Now the ordinance makes panhandling a misdemeanor, punishable with a $500 fine and up to 30 days in jail. This ordinance prohibits drivers from giving anything to pedestrians in certain areas, and it also prohibits panhandlers from approaching cars for exchanges. Officers with the Wichita Police Department's Homeless Outreach Team, also known as HOT, say they offer panhandlers food and a warm place to stay, but they say most of the time no one takes them up on their offer. HOT also states that most panhandlers aren't really homeless, but they still need assistance of some kind, and HOT wants to help, so arresting and fining are not their first steps at all. If you or someone you know needs additional information, including resources for assistance, any police station in the city will have that available. There are also food banks, shelters, and diners for homeless throughout the city. The Coalition to End Homelessness can connect people with resources by calling 211, and the Homeless Resource Center can be reached at 316-265-9371.
I told you the one time, I called you right afterwards when my cousin had a bunch of moving blankets, and I hauled some furniture up here to Wichita that she had given me. And I was like, what do you want to do with these blankets? And she's like, just donate them to Goodwill or something. And so I had picked up my daughter from a band function, and we were driving, and I said, you know, Riley, I have all these blankets in the back of the Jeep. And Debbie said to donate them. And she's like, okay, Mom, let's go donate them. And I'm like, no, we're not going to go to Salvation Army or Goodwill. I said, we're going to hand them out to the homeless. And so we pulled up at the Lord's Diner. Mm-hmm. And I got out and started taking these blankets out, and it was like all these homeless people, just like
how many did you have?
I bet you there was probably 5 or 6, maybe. Just flocked to me, and they're like, "Can we, have this?" And I'm like, "Take what you want." Well, this one guy, I think his name was Woody. He stuck around. Everybody left, and then they're like, "Do you have a light? You have a light?" I'm like, "Don't smoke. Sorry, don't. But you can have a blanket." And I gave him had a vest. And I was like, here, have this. And he goes, ma'am, he goes, I got to ask you a question. He goes, I know why I used to help people, but why do you? And I was like, that's just what you're supposed to do as a human. And my daughter was in the Jeep, and I told her before I got out, I said, if anything shady goes on, call 911, but this is what we're going to do. And she stayed in the car. I think she slept the whole time, didn't even watch, so I could have died, but...
You didn't. Keep
I didn't. So I ended up talking to Woody for probably over an hour. And I had, after we got done, it was such, and we'll tell the story another time, but it was such an eye-opener for me, because these people, he was homeless. Mm-hmm. He did not want to live. And he was nothing but respectful. He would not cuss in front of me. People would come up to me, and he's like, nope, and he would stop them. And he would have them leave. And he goes, I'm talking to her. And it was like he was the godfather of homeless. I mean, because they had that, nobody gave him shit.
Oh?
Yeah. And he was like, keep talking. He's like, don't stand there. People pee there. And I'm like, oh. And he goes, come down here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he said that he he goes, I don't know why I'm still alive. And he goes, I don't have a reason for living. And I'm like, Woody, I don't know, but there's a reason why you're here. Maybe to give me this message. And he said that he had it planned out, his death planned out. And another homeless lady was supposed to stab him at night and kill him.
What?
Yeah. And he said,
wait a minute, when you say was supposed to, because he planned that?
He planned it. He asked her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he had asked her if she would do this for him, and she agreed. And he said, I'm going to be at this park at this place. This is where I'm sleeping. And he said he woke up the next morning and he was like, I'm alive. She chickened out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But he had it planned.
Did he say why?
Is
like, it because he didn't feel like he had a place to go?
He goes, he didn't have family. I mean, he was just, he goes, I asked him, I said, where do you sleep? And he goes, well, this concrete's pretty. You learn how to adapt and sleep on concrete. And I'm just like, holy crap. And he's just like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here, ma'am. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say. I had no idea what to say, but we started talking, and I told him what how I work, what I did, for a living, and he was a truck driver, and this guy knew every computer, every truck, every road. He name dropped people, and I asked him, I said, Woody, if you don't mind, can I ask you how you got here? And he said that he was a driver going over the road, and he was go, 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 and he just got a taste of that money and go, 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 and he knew how to finagle his logbooks so he could drive. And he said he pulled over one day, and he was just so tired. And he's like, I was tired, and I could not go any further. And so I called my dispatcher, and my dispatcher said, just stay there. I'm going to have somebody come and see you. And I don't even know if it was hours or whatever, but they showed up, and he goes, then they gave me a white powder. And it wasn't a driver to relieve me. It was for me to get high so I could get back on the road and drive.
Are you kidding me?
No. And he goes,
what?
He said, as soon as I did that, I became addicted to drugs. And the more I got addicted to drugs, the more I needed the money and the more I needed to drive. And he lost everything.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They literally gave him drugs. They
Drugs,
specialized and
Yeah.
sent somebody out to give him something.
Yeah. And then he said, and he goes, they knew what they were doing. And he goes, and I never did stuff like that before, but man, I felt good. And I was like, go, go, go. And then I felt really good and was like, go, go, go. And then that money started coming in and it started going out for the drugs.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Did he wasn't married or anything?
No. And it was so funny because it was just crazy because I was like, he goes, I want to make it to Albuquerque. And he said something about he was trying to get his license or something. His stuff was stolen. He was in a store and some homeless person stole his belongings that he had. And he said that the cops were there and they just let the guy take his stuff and leave because he's like, we're just homeless people.
What?
And he goes, and it's just more of a pain than anything to deal and chase this guy down because my belongings aren't anything to anybody else. But to me, it was important.
He did it in front of the cops, though.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything.
And they didn't do anything. And he's like, can you help me? And they're like, no, get going. So, yeah. And then now this,
no, ICT.
Yeah. And I don't, and this is his story. And when we got done, he thanked me for talking to me. He says, thanks for the blanket, thanks for the jacket. And I said, I really hope I see you again. And he goes, no offense, ma'am, but I hope to never see you again.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then I just wished him well, and he thanked me. But as soon as I got in the car, I called you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have a book idea.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get stories of these people. Not the ones that have transmission and tools for sale, but the ones that are legit hurting and have somebody's son, daughter, cousin, mom, dad. I mean, how did they get there?
Yeah.
Why did they get there? And why are they still there? There's
Right.
so much money in this world that people have. We shouldn't have a homeless problem.
True, but I think when we look at the whole subject, I know that there are people who choose to be homeless.
Yeah. My
So
cousin,
that's where you have to, like, where do you find that line of, is this person legitly, like, are they legit homeless? Or is this something that they choose to do because of whatever reason?
Right.
And that drug addiction as well, it drives them to the streets to lose their life to that. As you and I both know, when we have stepped out and have taken a couple of drives, we unfortunately recognized a lady who was going through something. She had taken something was going on with her, and she was no clothes.
She was completely naked.
Running through Riverside Park, and
she had a stamp, something on her lower back.
I think she had a tattoo, dude.
But was it?
It was a tattoo, but we didn't get close enough to figure that out. But
was she being sex trafficked, and did she escape? I mean,
I don't know.
And at the point we were laughing at first because we're like, holy crap, are we seeing this? And then at the end, we're like, what do we do? Do we call? And then she kind of went off and disappeared.
Yeah, it was weird. But when you do see these people downtown, having these conversations to themselves and doing some strange things, they got bit by that terrible drug that keeps them on the streets.
We are one wrong decision, one wrong choice away from that.
Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. I mean, I think people can be so influenced to say, try it once, it's no big deal, and then look at your story.
Yeah.
He ended up doing it, which honestly was wrong, and whatever company that was, shame on you for changing his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for what? Money.
Money.
To haul the loads to get the money.
Yeah, and that in itself is so wrong in so many ways. But you don't know. I think it's interesting to hear. It would be interesting to hear other people's stories of why they are where they are right now with that.
I think we need to talk. I mean, we have so much on our plates right now, but we talked about the book, finding the homeless, getting their story and putting them in a black and white book, and then donating money to, if we sell the book, to that cause.
Yeah, all in due time.
But just yeah,
that's right, Jazzy. I said
it. Yes, she did.
All in due time.
All in due time. And just to get stories out there, because my attitude yesterday compared to what I was at the Lord's Diner was like night and day.
I think because you had been bitten prior, you know, you're a little bit more, you're more aware, like, hey, you know, I handed this guy $2 in the parking lot one time, and then that same individual hit me up on the other side of town for the same story. So that is a trigger.
Yeah.
Because of that happening.
I'm gonna run you over.
I can't even believe you were like chasing them.
Oh my God! Don't! I was honking, flashing my lights. Oh my God! I was so mad. I was just so mad.
You looked like a crazy lady.
I was crazy. I did, because I stopped and I was like, "What am I
Were you yelling
doing?"
out the window?
Yes. I was like, "Don't give him any money. He's a fake." So mad.
Oh my God.
I was mad at myself because I was just like, I'd give the shirt off my back for somebody that needed it, you know? And we're like that. Our families are like that, you know? We have friends that are like that. And to be taken advantage of, and we're working our asses off to make a living, to pay our stuff. And then there's people like that take advantage. And there's so many places to get jobs. It's such a touchy subject.
It's a touchy subject, but you feel like a fool for being bit in that way. Like it pissed you off that you were lied to, basically. But he said, "No, ma'am, that wasn't me.
Wasn't me." He put his
hand down. He did his hat the same way the other guy did.
Yes, he did. Yep.
So if you run into this, anybody that's living or listening to us in the ICT area, and you get the guy that kind of curves his hat and says, "Ma'am,"
a lot,
you need to walk away.
Oh, and what pisses me off even more, when you give them the money and they say, "God bless you."
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's, I mean, let's be real, people. There are homeless people all over the United States. They're thick everywhere. They're thick in the California area as well. Know your audience. If you feel like they are truly in need, do what it is that you feel is best.
And for God's sakes, if they say they want to show you something, do not go.
Don't go. It's
do
not worth
not
it.
do that.
That's just for a couple of bucks. And we also know that there is all kinds of trafficking out there that's going on, where people and kids and so on and so forth are disappearing. Be aware
of your surroundings.
Yes, of your surroundings, for sure. But I think this is a really good touch base in reference to this. And we will end up touching back on this subject in general in time, once we get a little bit more out on the pavement. We're going to put boots to the ground, and
that time.
We're going to check out some scary places and do some crazy things. But meanwhile, thank you so much for tuning in and sticking with us. We are excited to share more with you. So at this time, I think we're going to close on this one and wish you well, and hope you come back to see more. And this definitely was not a vain situation. So just be good to yourself and be good to those, even if they are homeless. Don't be rude. You don't have to give anything, but you don't have to be rude either. Be kind. It's important right now in this world, in the United States itself, for us to be kind to one another, because that is what's needed the most with everything that's going on. So until next time, I think we're ready to close it out, right?
Here we are.
All right. Well, until next time, I want to say peace out.
Deuces.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Jax and Stapleton Unfiltered. Today's show featured founding podcasters Jax and Stapleton. Executive produced by both Jax and Stapleton. Sound editing and the theme song by Jamie Hudson. Video editing by Jax, Stapleton, and Jamie Hudson. Be sure to follow us on your socials. We'll be popping up soon on all. Or visit us at jaxstapletonunfiltered.com.